Hello, welcome to the Comic Bros Authority podcast, where two brothers sit down and discuss comics and graphic novels that they just read and share it with you. I'm your host, Andre, and with me is my lovely but sad brother, Miles.
Hello.
So, bro, how was your week?
It was a tough week, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wanna share with the podcast?
Oh yes.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We don't have time to get into your personal life.
Oh, okay. I just have to say that yeah, this week has been a little tough. Just juggling a lot of things and it just got me kind of thirsty, if you know what I mean.
What kind of thirst do you have?
Um it's almost like a righteous thirst.
You don't say. For what? Vengeance. So, if you haven't guessed already, we are going to be talking about a book titled A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, written by Rick Remender, who is known for doing many comic books for Marvel and going off and having his own imprint under Image Comics. Just a bunch of indie work that he does, such as Black Science.
Fear Agent, what else? Seven to Eternity, Low,
Currently writing, was it The Grommets?
Grommets. I love that book. That's on my pull list right now.
Oh, I have only read the first issue of that.
Oh, dude, it's so good, so good.
Yeah. The artist is Andre Lima Araujo. I am only familiar with one book that he did, and that was Avengers AI, but that was all the way back in like 2013.
Okay.
Yeah. So other than that, I don't think I've ever really seen any of his other work besides this and Avengers AI.
Yeah. I never seen his work before. This is the first time. But this artwork is kind of my favorite because he's a Portuguese artist, and it kind of has this Mobius feel to it.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. It reminds me of a European comic book.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I got as well, and I really do. It's very detailed.
Yes, yes, and all right. So when it comes to artists who are very detailed, like Jeff Darrow and Derek Robertson, Mobius, those are some of my favorite kind of artists.
Yeah, I would also like to say like Frank Whiteley.
Oh yeah. Frank Wiley.
Yeah, definitely.
He knows how to draw some fucking clothes.
Uh, who else would you say would be uh, an artist just like that? Who took over Batman Incorporated with Grant Morrison?
Oh, Chris Burnham.
Chris Burnham. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. I like his artwork too.
Yeah, in this book, we have colors by Chris O'Halloran and Russ Wooten on letters.
This book is my favorite Korean revenge drama from like the 2010s. You know how like
Yeah.
there's like a slew of them from like the 2000s, early 2010s. This one is probably one of my favorites since like I Saw the Devil.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Shit. I forgot all about that movie.
It's yeah. If you want to see something spooky this year, go watch I Saw the Devil. It's more of a thriller than it is a spooky movie, but it has to do with serial killers. But I digress. Going back to the book, this book I also have to say is a huge departure for Rick Remender. He's usually very dialogue heavy, and he pushes his story forward, but with this one specifically, he lets the artist take over and basically control the pacing and control the book.
Yeah, I was really surprised with the lack of dialogue in here. I mean, of course there is dialogue, but yeah, you're right. There it's really just an artist showcase
Yes.
where Andre is, just telling the story and, pacing it so well. I don't know, like you bought the deluxe edition, didn't you?
Yes, I got this for a great fucking deal for like $12. It was sitting in like a used bin and I just picked it up. one of the most, how do I say it? The graphic designer for this collection, just it's very simplistic, and that's like really speaks to me.
Hmm.
Um, it's very minimalist, even with the little color palette tones right up here.
Yes. Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So if they can make more books look like this, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think this will translate great into like a movie.
Yeah, or
Uh
a miniseries.
yeah, or a miniseries. It just flows so well when you read it. Like I said, there's not that much dialogue. It just shows, the main character just walking
Yeah.
and doing his, daily errands. And that's how the book starts off. He's just going through his like daily errand, and it's paced so well.
Yeah.
Uh is there a copy of the script in the back of your deluxe?
Yes, there is.
So
Right
it
here with breakdowns and everything.
Oh, nice.
There's a ton of behind the scenes here with the inks and tones as well.
Yeah. Do the way is with the script, is it kind of like a Marvel, like the Marvel way it's written, or is it written like an actual script?
It's written like an actual script, but as I mentioned earlier, Rick Remender basically just lets Andre Lima, just basically take over this whole book. He lets him, figure out the shots and whatever. Like Rick Remender's the writer, technically the director and director of cinematography, if we're putting it into movie terms,
Mm-hmm.
is the artist. He's choosing the shots.
Okay.
And that's what I specifically loved about this. And you want to know what's also funny is
Hmm.
that this book is a complete 180 from our last episode. That was very all ages, family orientated. This is for mature readers. There's a lot of violence, cursing, nudity.
Yes.
It's yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it's pretty horrifying.
yeah.
The things that happen in this book. I was it had me scared because I had to do with the dark web,
Oh
which
yeah, yeah, yeah,
oof,
yeah.
which just always sends a
Yeah.
shiver down my spine.
Yeah. This is first time reading it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've only seen it in the store, the copies and everything. It's
Okay.
only what 11 issues.
Yes.
Yeah, I've only seen like
It's kind of
copies.
it's kind of an odd issue number, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, normally, the Recommender does long runs when it comes to his indie stuff, but this is, beginning,
Yeah.
middle, and end
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
story.
That's what I kind of thought. I was like 11 issues because usually it goes up to like 12.
Yeah, that's like when you have like a maxi series. I guess this is a maxi
It
series.
is, yeah.
Yeah, so 11 issues. 11 issues is odd, but I mean, he's the one who has a story in him, and I think it was perfectly paced where 11 issues is all you need for the story.
Yes, because it doesn't give you too much information where it's how do I say it? It's very exposition heavy.
Yeah.
You just kind of get the pieces as you go along.
Yeah, so let's tell the listeners what this story is about.
Okay, so it's about Sunny, a Canadian Chinese man, normal, but he kind of gets wrapped up in assassinations, the dark web, and high political figure conspiracies. And he goes on the run. It kind of becomes Lone Wolf and Cub later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Mandalorian or whatever have you. Where you have, or
It all stems from Lone Wolf and Cub.
it does. Leon the Professional as
Yeah.
well, or Gloria. Where to begin? I would like to preface this and say that Sonny does look like Benedict Wong, the actor.
He does, and I had Benedict Wong's like voice in my head while I was reading his character.
Dude, this would be such a perfect vehicle for him.
I know.
Oh my god.
I would watch the crap out of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm just like, all right, like, because usually you have like those old geezer action movies. Started with Taken. This one would be a perfect vehicle for him. Overall, what did you think about the book?
I thought it was pretty good. Like you said, Rick Remender is the dialogue heavy kind of writer, and just to see him do something different was was nice. It The story had me in the first issue. It doesn't give you a whole lot.
No,
The
no, it
first
doesn't.
issue is just basically following the main character. You don't know what he's doing until the last like several pages of the book, where it turns horrifying.
Yes, and I think in that first issue kind of lays out the theme of it has to do with the bird in the rain and the little boy,
Hmm.
where he says, I can put it out of its misery, but why does that have to fall onto my shoulders? I can make it worse. It's like, but yeah, again, why does it fall on my shoulders? It's because I happen to be here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. So I never really put that together.
Yeah. So this is my second time reading it. I picked it up in two widely available trades, and then I upgraded to this deluxe edition once I found out that there was a deluxe edition.
You're a hardcover junkie.
Yes, I love hardcovers, and this is such a great build. I'm just flipping through it right now.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
The first issue doesn't give you a whole much of, what the story is about. It just really sets things up.
Yes, I would say issues 2 and 3 kind of you dive more in. You can see that the reason why he's making such a long trek is because he's on his way to an assassination attempt,
Yes.
a hit, if you will,
Yeah,
that
and it
he got
doesn't
from the dark web.
yeah, and it doesn't really say why until later on in the book.
Yeah, that's like halfway through the book.
Yeah, he like you just know that this guy is going and trying to stop assassination attempts.
He's trying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
trying.
it doesn't
Emphasis on the try.
emphasis on the try. He's your normal kind of guy who just kind of gets wrapped up in all this crap, and you just it's kind of like if I did this, he's just your everyday kind of guy. Like I would fumble everything. I would like stop. I wouldn't have the gall or the balls to try to stop an assassination if I was standing right next to a like hired hitman who was like really good at his job and then pretending to be one. I would be riddled with anxiety.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly I would be just like this character here,
Yeah. This is
because he's like the way Andre Lima draws him, sweating
oh, he's
out of constantly sweating, very nervous, and the other guy's like, "Oh, you're supposed to be, he
the jackal or something.
yeah, he apparently Sonny, the main character, has a quote unquote like big reputation.
I think he may have stolen that identity, and you don't really, because he's like what, an insurance agent or something,
Yeah.
and then he ends up finding a way to get to the dark web through like a USB port and everything, and he kind of assumes the identity of one of the biggest hitmen. And so when he goes on this one specific hit, he saves a woman, but they say they have to go back to save her son, which I would have to say, even after reading it, I was still full of surprises every single few pages
Hmm.
because I totally forgot. And I don't know if you want to get into spoilers a little bit here and there, or
And we keep forgetting to do this, but the spoiler alert.
oh yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, ding ding ding, spoiler alert, ding ding.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna preface this with a spoiler. Yes. So when he saves the woman, unfortunately, she gets shot in the fucking neck.
Zzz.
Yeah, it was very violent.
Yes.
And then it's just him and her son just kind of on the lam for the rest of the book. And they're just trying to get out of Vancouver, trying to get out of Canada.
Yeah.
And it's just going all wrong. There's stakes because he has a withering older mother who lives in a nursing home, and he's afraid what's going to happen to her because the police are in on it too. As you find out that this hit has to deal with this high political figure or businessman
Mm-hmm.
who has kind of, I would say, did you feel like it was supposed to be Trump?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I knew you were gonna say that because I had that feeling too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It very much Trump esque,
Yes.
and you could get into the conversation, woke, blah blah blah, whatever.
I don't
I
give a
honestly,
shit.
yeah, I really don't give a crap. But that's the feeling that I got when I saw this,
Yeah,
and
it can probably because he's probably the biggest like figurehead of business and political. Uh,
At the time,
in our current zeitgeist, honestly.
yeah.
When you think about that, you think about like someone who's political and in business. You think Trump, Elon Musk isn't political; he's just business. You
I
know,
mean, he kind of is getting.
he just spouts off on fucking X,
Yeah,
dude.
formerly Twitter.
Yeah, oh, Twitter, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't.
I still call it Twitter.
I still call it Twitter. I don't know why I called it X right now.
No, but yeah. So like the story, like it takes a mean ass turn, especially when he's trying to get the passports for the woman and her son.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like when he's just like, here, have the gun. It'll keep you safe. And she's like, I don't know who you're trying to convince, me or you.
yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, I would be there too.
Yeah, yeah.
But like even like when you get to the parts where it shows the businessman, whatever he's up to when he's making the phone calls for the hits, he's always at some lavish party.
Yes, and that's where it gets very eyes wide shut, like sexuality, like graphic. Like it's really like it's drawn with like no constraint.
None.
It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't baby you because a baby's not supposed to be fucking reading this.
True.
Yeah, so it lets you know. It shows like a woman's head in a bird's cage, and he just walks up to her and gropes her, and just something that we're currently hearing right now with
Yeah,
what's going on in the headlines.
it's giving Diddy.
Yes, yes, it's giving the what's the part
Freak offs?
the freak offs.
Yeah, it is giving freak off.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought that was interesting hearing about that, especially nowadays, because I read this book like maybe 2 years ago,
Okay.
and I was just thinking, all right, Epstein,
Yeah.
yeah. So it plays a bit into that too, I think.
Yeah, and what I really like about Andre Lima's artwork in this is, I was a fan because I was reading Avengers AI when it came out, and I was so infatuated with his art.
Yeah.
It was very cartoony, very detailed.
Yes.
And it was just a wonderful read and just always like so good to look at. So when I see him do this book, I was really surprised with how toned down on the cartoony look it was for a more realistic kind of look.
Yes.
But when he drew the sun was young, but he has big eyes.
Yeah. I think a lot of artists fail when they draw kids.
Yes.
John Byrne sucks.
Famously, yes.
Yes, infamously, John Byrne sucks. Gary Frank is not he's not great on drawing children either. But yeah, he makes the kid very wide-eyed, makes him look very innocent looking because
Innocent and naive to the world and everything around him.
yeah, exactly, because he's kind of just thrusted into this.
Like he wakes up and he sees the dead body of another hitman on the floor. The next thing you know, he's rushed off into a car. He's getting chased down. His mother dies in front of him.
Yeah, by this Terminator-esque freaking psychopath.
Yeah, that dude gave me the creeps.
He's very masochistic.
Yeah, like when he approaches Sonny, he goes and he starts repeating everything that verbatim everything that Sonny said to him when he accidentally bumped into him in the store in the first issue.
Yeah.
When they meet face to face later on, he's repeating everything that Sonny said to him.
With a straight face, looking him dead in the eye. It was very creepy. And then so I went back and I looked at that because that must have been like issue 3. And then I went back and looked at it from the first issue and I was like, oh shit, like, damn.
Yeah. That's the thing I like about Remender is that he really knows how to write these characters.
Yeah.
And even though this character, you don't know much about this serial killer, this hitman.
Yeah.
But the way he conducts his murders.
Yes.
When Sonny first walks into like the first grisly murder scene of that couple tied up to the chair with pieces of glass.
Naked.
They're tied up to the chair naked. They have pieces of glass stuck in different parts of their body.
Yeah, it was crushed light bulbs.
Crushed light bulbs.
put into different parts of their body, sliced webbing of the feet.
Ooh, that part got me.
Yeah, and you see that the man was bound and gagged with a bottle of Drano,
Yes.
just dead. And I was like, dude.
Yeah, that is some fucked shit right there.
Yes.
And if you have read Rick Remender's like previous work, you could see that, like
He likes messed up things.
he really does.
Yeah.
I mean, like you read his Uncanny X-Force that
I was
he
about
wrote
to
for
say,
Marvel,
yeah.
you know.
Uncanny X-Force has a pretty gruesome death in the beginning. And
Yeah.
then even like just kind of dark humor.
Yes.
Like with Deadpool slicing off bits of his arm to feed Angel when he gets
Oh,
hit with famine.
that's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the guy who did Frankencastle for Punisher.
Oh yeah.
Frankencastle's great.
Sure.
Frankencastle's great.
I'm not gonna.
I will die on that hill. And it was great. It was great. I don't care.
Maybe we'll do that book. I don't know. Yeah, so he uses the dark web, then they throw a major hit on him, and he goes on the lam with the son and the original person that hit, but then it just becomes him and the son. As vicious as it is, the bullets fly through the car during a getaway chase scene, which I think drawn spectacularly.
Oh yeah.
And I just cannot praise the art enough. I wish we can show it to you guys.
Same.
Yeah, because like it shows
It's so
motion.
fucking pretty.
It's-
I'm sorry.
It's pretty, and it shows motion really well.
Yeah.
You feel like you're reading a movie.
Yeah, it really does with the way you see the swipes behind the characters
Yeah.
as things are moving forward. When the gunshots hit people, you see the blood flying. It feels like you're actually living in this world. It feels like you're watching like you're watching a film.
Yeah. I would also say that he does Andre Lima does backgrounds spectacularly as well. You can
Yeah.
see he puts a lot of detail in the buildings.
Yeah.
You can see some of it's decrepit. There's water damage. There's cracks in the tile. Stuff like that, and a little bit of texture going on, like stucco or something like that. He makes it feel weathered and aged,
Yes.
like it's lived in. So it's not like blank like some other artists do, where they don't want to deal with the background, so they don't draw it. But he puts a lot of detail into every panel.
And that's something that I really appreciate, because there are a lot of artists out there that only do like blank backgrounds.
Yeah.
They don't do such a I mean, I'm not one to be like talking trash about artists, but there are some artists who are able to go ahead and do backgrounds.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we can criticize it. It's art. It's up for criticism. I mean, they for sure can do a better job, because I only draw stick figures. But like I said, all art is up for criticism. That's what makes it super subjective.
Okay, well, I can't even draw a stick figure, so
You can't try.
my
They're
line.
lines, Andre.
I go for squiggles.
Thank you for joining us on this podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
All right, yes, I'll go ahead. I'll take all my trophies. I'll see you later, Miles. It was really good seeing you.
Really good seeing you. We had a good run.
All right, yeah, this was fun. Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye.
Yep.
But yeah, what do you think about like the little off the grid community that they end up going to in the middle of the book?
You know what? I'm not sure what this community was about, because, I mean, yes, they're living off the grid and everything. Was that the point? Is that they wanted to live off the grid, or were they all kind of like assassins, or some of them were, because the main guy was
I think he's militia.
okay.
He's militia. It's kind of like sovereign citizens. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like kind of like sovereign citizenship without like getting into like like super alt right or super alt left or anything like that on a political spectrum. Without diving too deep into that,
Yeah.
it's just the government can't tell me what to do. I make up my own rules, sort of deal.
God, I remember being out in a cabin out in Northern California. I felt really good to be like living off the grid like that. Of
You're
course,
living off the land.
yeah, we are just living off the land. We only had a generator to power up. We turned it off at like 8 p.m. at night. Turned it on at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Mm.
Yeah, we'd only run it for like 12 hours,
Oh, okay.
and it was pretty fun. All we did was just farm out there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
and
actually sounds really relaxing.
it took. It's like we were on a main road in Northern California, and then we had to turn off onto like an off road, and we were traveling down like an an unpaid path for like a whole hour before we got to the land.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Can't
Oh
tell you where exactly because I have no idea.
yeah, it's just up there.
Yeah, because my phone lost service and I was like, well, that's it.
Yeah, I didn't hear from you for like a week.
Yeah. And that was a crazy week because when we turned on the generator, turned on the radio, all of a sudden it was just like, oh, Las Vegas got shot.
Oh shit, it was then.
Yeah, it was when that guy was shooting out of the hotel into the
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
music festival.
the Las
And
Vegas massacre.
yeah, and we were just shocked, like, holy crap. Then the next day or somewhere around that time, Tom Petty died.
Yeah, yeah, I remember you told me that, and then they started playing Wildflower on the radio.
Yeah, still one of my favorite Tom Petty songs.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. After you told me that, you're like, we're listening to this and blah blah. And we woke up in the morning listening to Rumors from Fleetwood Mac, and I was like, all right, I got to. And you said you listened to it on vinyl or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that was pretty cool. Also, listen to the Miley Cyrus cover of Wildflowers. It's amazing.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Since you're all of a sudden like pop.
No, yeah. So there's this him and the son are living off the grid with this kind of militia group. He becomes a really good marksman after 6 months because they just mention it. And I like the way he says it very passive aggressively to instead of being like, well, you've been here 6 months now. He just goes like, you got 2 in the heart, 3 in the head. It only took you 6 months.
Yeah,
And then that's it.
Pretty degrading.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of setup in the beginning that gets played off later of him being such a good marksman that sets up the ending.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the son, he doesn't speak. He's traumatized, which I get. You go mute after experiencing loved ones dying. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of like this cat and mouse game because you have this one cop who's working for this businessman, politician, whoever have you,
Yeah.
and he's like, he puts the hit out on Sonny, and then you have I'm going to call him the Terminator,
The serial killer
the
assassin.
serial killer assassin guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very much T2.
Dude, it is because all right, you remember in Terminator after the Club Noir scene, they're in the thing and they're like, oh, it's a T-800 and send it back. I'm from the future. And Kyle Reese is talking.
Yeah.
That same exact scene is that car scene when they're driving and he's going after them and the bum's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh,
It's the same exact scene.
it's the same exact scene as Terminator.
Rick Remender, you have explaining to do.
You have explaining to do. Yeah, but I really like how close knit this group is because it's not in your face sovereign citizenship where they're looking out for each other as a community as opposed to that ideology of being just about self.
Yeah.
And the law doesn't work for me, so I'm going to change the law or whatever. I'm putting up air quotes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about a sense of community here. All the kids who live there are going to school. They're still learning. They trade apples with each other, fix roofing. I just wonder how they go about doing for like monetary things.
Maybe it's like
Like where they get the supplies to, build the roof or when Homeboy went to go get a beer and how he met Sonny.
Well, yeah, I was gonna actually go back to that. I mean, they obviously aren't completely separated because when you get to the militia guy, he's in town. He's enjoying a beer. So I'm sure that they just go back into town and, they go and they get, they probably do jobs for supplies
Right. Yeah.
because that's really how it works out there. When I was having that conversation, oh, so one of the nights we ended up having dinner with one of our neighbors, and the neighbors was like several acres over.
Yeah. Okay.
So we go and we're having a conversation, and I'm like, just really learning. They have like a whole farm out there, but and I was talking to two of the people that live there, and they were explaining to me how they're from the East Coast. They came all the way down to the West Coast to work, and that's how they get their food. That's how they get, a roof over their head, and they work all
Mm,
season long in farming.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and with that, with all that money that they get,
It's kind of like working. Yeah, when you work in a different state with a higher wage and you bring it back to, like say a higher wage state. You work here in California, you bring it back to like a Montana or something like
yeah,
that. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Because
So
the dollar goes a long way over there
yeah, yeah,
compared to over here.
yeah. I know.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, but I'm assuming that it's something like that
Oh, okay.
because we don't get much.
No.
But I guess that is up for the reader's like interpretation and how you want to go. You just go with it.
Yeah, they don't bog you down in the details for
Yeah.
this. Um, but yeah, it's again, these characters, don't get used to them. Like anything could happen to these characters.
And that's basically how it is in a Rick Remender book.
Yes.
You can have a favorite, but
Yeah, don't get used to them, dude.
exit stage left.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happens with a few characters here is but I think the violence is turned up to 11 once the Terminator tracks him down, kidnaps the kid, Sonny goes after him, and then falls into the trap.
Yeah.
And then that's where you see in detail of how he goes about torturing, because you only see the aftermath of how this fucking Terminator guy
Yeah, when they're
tortures
already
people.
dead.
Yeah, exactly. They're already dead. You're just like, oh, it kind of leaves it up to the imagination. And then they show you in the book how he does it and
Mhm.
how he goes about doing this. And it's, oi,
I know. It's brutal, it's disgusting, and I want to read it.
yes.
I couldn't take my eyes away because it's pretty to look at, but like we explained earlier, it's like honestly, it's like watching a storyboard to a movie.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God. Yeah. Kind
just
of like what Mobius did for Jodorowsky's Dune.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? Gabriel Hardman did that for The Matrix.
Gabriel Hardman.
He did Green Lantern Earth 1.
Oh, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a storyboard artist. He did The
Oh.
Matrix.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, that's how this feels. It feels like you're watching the storyboard of a movie with, some dialogue. I mean, but the dialogue's very sparse.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I like. It Andre Lima, he really shows off. He's flexing on us at this point because it's all in character faces.
Yeah.
You see a lot of emotion going on and you don't question what is a character feeling right now. No, it's a
It's
show, don't
written.
tell.
Yeah, it's like it's written on their face.
Yeah. And he does it so fucking well.
Yeah. And like just the blank expression of the Terminator guy,
Yeah.
just his blank expression as he is recording Sonny and the little boy from the bushes into the campsite.
Yeah.
I was creep.
Dude, yeah, because like even during Sonny's freak out while they're working on the roof, you can see his anguish that he wants to contact his mom. He feels bad, but he can't
Yeah.
because, of course, they're keeping out on his mom and eventually use it.
Yeah, the bad guy is, or the bad businessman, political figure, what have you. He is he's going and he put a hit out on Sonny, but also the cop that he is in line with
Yes.
went and said that Sonny is the serial killer that killed people.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
That
you know,
all the blame is put onto Sonny.
yes.
Yes, yes. Which reminds me, because you have the two cops.
Yeah.
One of the cops, he's a main antagonist in the book. He's covering up the trail for the Terminator guy.
Hmm.
And then you have the other cop who's like, who does things by the book. You know, he's not under anyone's
He's not getting paid out.
yeah, he's not getting paid out for anything. I think that's one of the faults of this book, rereading it, because he is in what, issue 2 or 3 or whatever,
Too.
and he doesn't show up.
Until
You
it.
you forget about him,
Yeah.
and then he Deus ex machina right at the end,
Yeah, he does.
and that's I'm not too big on that kind of trope. That kind of fell a little flat for me.
Yeah.
So, and I was just like, oh fuck, there's this guy, and it's just, you know, he comes and
He's like, oh, yeah, him. But yeah, you're right. He doesn't pop up for a whole while.
yeah, if they like like set up like this whole like, oh, I'm on this dirty cops trail, like sprinkle that throughout the book.
Hmm.
You know, take notes from me, Rick Remender. I'm a writer. I'm just playing. I'm not.
Take those words back.
I will. Yeah, he's done some of my favorite work. But yeah, I think that was probably the only part I really didn't like, and I'll talk about the end in a little bit when we get there.
Yeah. I mean, so basically, this book gets to this face off between Terminator serial killer slash assassin guy and Sonny. And then it kind of just jumps ahead.
Yeah.
The
There's a
confrontation.
lot of jumps.
Yeah. There are a lot of jumps
There
in
are a
this
lot of-
book, and it just in between issues as well.
Yeah,
In between 5 and 6, it's a 6 month jump. In between 9 and 10 is about a good
9 and 10 is
like a
I
year.
think maybe a year, and then 10 and 11 is a decade.
Yes. Yeah. So you're jumping around like House of Dragon style.
Yes, but yeah, there's a lot of time jumps in here, but it's not distracting. It just, that's the part where it holds your hands. You're like, all right, yeah, you know, they've been on the run for 6 months. Okay, it's been a year, and you can see that too as the kid, he starts to talk a little bit more and more. Never have I felt more inclined to eat some shrimp tacos.
I know. So at some point they're in Mexico, and they go and
They're eating shrimp tacos.
yeah, they're eating shrimp tacos. And I'm like, damn, that looks good.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna fuck some shrimp tacos up right now.
So, yeah,
Can I talk about a little bit of the art there when they're in Mexico?
sure.
Andre Lima draws every scar that Sonny
Mm,
was inflicted with
yes.
when they go to the beach to have a little like freedom to like relax.
Mhm.
You can see the lines in the webbing of his feet. You see it on his face,
On his arms.
and like body. Yeah,
everywhere that he was stuck with.
Yeah,
a piece
exactly.
of glass.
yeah. I honestly, I don't want to get into the ending of that part. I want to let our listeners,
Discover it for themselves. Yeah.
but as far as in the story of what we talked about, there hasn't really been revenge
There wasn't until
till
the ending.
the final chapter,
Yes.
which I think is all right. So this is when I first read it, I thought a little bit of that's it. When I got to that final chapter, I was a little when I first read the book because it's a fast read,
Very fast. I
and
read it inside of a work shift.
oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, because I was just slow day chilling at my computer, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna read it off of Hoopla.
Yeah,
Read it so fast because it's just like you're just watching the movements of the characters,
yeah.
and you know
Very
what?
methodical.
Yeah. And before we get into the ending, I just want to comment on the pacing and the art. When you have things like when they're in Mexico, those moments of silence without any dialogue are very tender moments.
Yes, there's a great relationship building up between the kid and Sonny, and how he becomes a surrogate father for him.
Yeah.
How he takes care of him, because you see him, he's already a caring person from the beginning of the book, caring for his mom.
Yeah.
and now taking care of this kid, and he just wants him. He doesn't rush him to speak. He says in your own time, and then he lets him know about this, where he's riddled with anxiety his whole life, and he tells a story of, my mother. She would say, list all the things that you are worried about, all your anxieties, list them, and says sometimes it'll take me an hour to list them all, and then she would just say, okay, but what is worrying you right now? And that's when the kid kind of like opens up a little bit more, and there's this father son relationship that is, I think, beautiful. And then Andre Lima drawing the sunset. Oof.
Oh,
And those colors. Good. Chris O'Halloran.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like honestly, I think the way Crystal Hallen, the way the book is colored,
Yes.
like the part where he's trying to pick up the fake passports,
Ooh,
and then
yeah.
you have the light of the cars that shine on him. It's like 2 a.m. and then like a spotlight shines on Sunny, and I thought it was just a great use of light.
Yes.
And some of the backgrounds are just like plain one color backgrounds, but still, it's the way the sun is reflecting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can see that here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's also like this great scene because these are the tones. But there's one part where they're sitting in an office and you kind of get that noir Venetian blinds
Oh
thing.
yes.
I thought that was excellent.
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
Fuck. I'm just going through the book right now. Like, this is so damn good. I'm just going through the torture scene right now, and it's just like extremely violent. There's so much blood. There's nudity. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is like a well crafted story.
I think this is a perfect encapsulation of this creative team firing on all cylinders.
Yes.
And Rick Remender, while doing a good story, is kind of taking a step back to, because the book or the last book I read before reading this one, um, was Seven to Eternity, and
Yeah.
during that time he would have pages where it was just prose.
Yeah.
It was just a page of text uh in a graphic novel or a comic book, and I remember just kind of getting frustrated with that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say prose is bad or anything like that at all, but you don't expect it in your comic book. When you're reading a comic book, you expect your lettering, you expect everything to flow sequentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, to have all this and then to let Andre Lima's art shine through here, to let these colors pop,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of good color separation going on too,
Yes.
especially in the beginning with I think with kind of like these muted tones against Sunny's red jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even when the blood of the bird.
Yeah. Yeah. Now going back to the end,
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a much better appreciation for the ending,
Okay.
as far as this last chapter goes, and that's where we get it ties in thematically for vengeance.
Yes.
God damn, it felt so great.
Oh, that's how I felt too. Um, right when it ended, I was like, "That's the righteous thirst for vengeance."
Yeah. Here goes that. It's like, it looks like the righteous thirst for vengeance was the friends we made along the way.
And in the context of this story, that is actually that's actually true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I felt too. When you get to the ending and then you finally see what happens, the vengeance part, and then that's when you kind of get the reason why this politician hitman put that hit out.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not going to say anything. I want people to go out and get the book, read it, and rent it or whatever. Just, I'm not going to be spoiling that part because it is so satisfying when you get to it.
I would say the only line spoken from a character in this last chapter, or not the only line, but one of them, where he says, I'm going to kill every one of your fucking relatives. It's like they're all dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just says, "They already are."
Damn.
Yeah, and then you just kind of see it's because this book is it's so methodical, like
Yeah.
with its framing, with the character and their poses, and then you just kind of get it left up to the imagination, and it's just kind of like what you see, or like your deepest darkest thoughts, I would say, like when you hear about all the bad shit going on in the world, you're like, I wish somebody would have, I wish these people would serve a certain kind of justice, because but this is like a dark fantasy if you were the one getting revenge on an Epstein like character or
Yeah.
something like that. And
Yeah, because I mean, like,
it's a clapback for me.
yeah, the title of the
Yes.
book, you think that the main character is the one going out for, revenge, for justice.
Yeah.
But he was just kind of trying to do something good and something so dark,
Yes.
and you don't really get the whole vengeance part until the very end.
Yeah. I think that's very satisfying. Even though, it's a dish best served cold. it, so it looked kind of steamy to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it.
I'm literally on that page too
Okay,
on my
okay,
reader.
yeah. No, but that one where you're kind of where he's like driving in the car. You notice the color of his jacket?
Yeah, I noticed that on the read. I was like, okay.
It is all right. So it kind of reminds me of the ending to I Saw the Devil.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to refresh my memory. I haven't seen that movie since
No,
since we first saw it.
wow, it's been like 15 years.
I know.
And I Saw the Devil, of course, a serial killer kills this secret agent's wife and brutally murders her. Of
Hmm.
course, the whole movie he's torturing him, and it just becomes this whole cat and mouse game. So finally, at the end, he gets his revenge, but in doing so, the main character kind of becomes a monster as well. He starts
Yes.
going down that dark path after he kills the serial killer. And there's this kind of like moment that he has, and it's the last shot of the movie where after he kills him, like in this like greenhouse or whatever, he's walking down the street. The sun's coming up. It's like 5, 6 a.m. And he's walking, and the music starts swelling as like the camera is backing away, and the guy's walking, and then he just stops and starts to like break down and crying, and then like that's it. The movie's over. And that's what the kind of feeling like you're like, all right, yeah, the story's over, justice was done.
But what did it take to get there?
It cost a whole lot.
Sure did.
I would have to say this reads great on the first read through. Reads way better after you have everything. And since it left my mind and now rereading it for the podcast for this episode, I love this book. I'm totally head over heels.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance.
Yeah, so what would you rate this book?
I would rate it like a 4.25 stars.
4.25.
Yeah. Or maybe 4.5.
I would say 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sticking with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I'd say 4.5 only because that one character.
Yeah, that's the part like I said, I'm not a fan of Deus Ex Machina,
Yeah.
or do whatever. I'm not a fan of that trope, so that's what brings it down a little bit for me. Yeah, I'd have to say again, this is the creative team just kicking ass. Um, Different kind of comic book, no superheroes. I know I keep saying that because it just felt refreshing to me.
Yeah.
This was the book I kind of read getting back into collecting comic books last
really?
year. I got the first trade just because I saw the character and I was like, that looks like Benedict Wong. I'm getting it. It's written by Rick Remender. I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly recommend this book. You?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I this is my first time reading it.
Mm.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a fast read. Um,
Yes, I would say pace it out.
yeah,
Like read it slowly. Look at everything because there's a lot to look at.
yes. Just every panel, there's always something.
Yeah,
Just little specks of dirt, leaves blowing in the wind.
make the connections between the panels with this one because it works better that way instead of just speed reading through it.
Yeah.
Because I've done that. I think that was my fault when I first read it was I was speed reading through it
Hmm.
just because it was so fast and there's very minimal dialogue.
Yeah.
Take your time with it.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to give it a reread because I really want to recommend this to my friends.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, and just like I said, I am going to recommend it to my friends because this is one of those books where you don't have to know something; you could just jump right into it. It's only 11 issues,
One and
and
done.
yeah, it's a easy read. It's very smooth,
Yes, very.
and when you're done, you could just put it down and say, "Holy shit, that was great."
Yeah. So this book is available in a deluxe hardcover. I'm pretty sure you can find it on Amazon.com. The cover price is $40. Usually, sites like Cheap Graphic Novels or Organic Price Books, In Stock Trades, or Amazon, they usually have it for a discount. So, of course, you'll be getting it less than cover price. However, if you want to go a cheaper option, it is available in two soft cover trade paperbacks. I believe those are at like $15 a piece.
Yeah.
I would say that the oversized hardcover is so worth it. Just going through it right now, seeing it in the oversized format, it was like watching something in IMAX.
Yeah.
And I found a good place on my couch to read it comfortably. It is kind of big. It's larger than your standard omnibus.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's taller than an omnibus.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well.
And so, yeah, you can find it less than cover price on all those websites that I mentioned. We are not sponsored by them, but those are the sites that we use to go purchase these books. Another way you can also read these books is through maybe like Comixology or through Hoopla, which is a reading app where all you need is a library card and you can rent it there if it's available digitally through your local library. If you like the book enough, I would say go purchase it. This is an independent book because you know how much I like gatekeeping books, right, Andre?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You totally gatekeep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't say every episode where you can purchase this book and read it for either a price or free.
Yeah.
Okay. Rant over.
Disgruntled people on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they just I'm okay, I'm sorry for this little rant that I'm about to go on, but like why do they gotta be doing that? Like just like honestly, if he really listened to the podcast instead of just commenting on like a small
It was
TikTok
a
video.
promo. It was a promo. I just said, hey, we talk about how we got into comic books, how it's a more nuanced thing. It's not hard, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
Yeah, and I don't know why he had to stick up his butt about gatekeeping. Like what? How?
I don't know where he got gatekeeping from.
I don't think he was using the right word, but
I
I
don't
think
think
because
so
it's such a trigger word for people that they go and they just start using it in the wrong context.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it
Yeah,
doesn't make
yeah.
sense how you're gatekeeping. You're just talking about your experience and how you started.
It's a conversation between the both of us. That's what I was trying to say about the episode. And every episode I do mention where you can read these books and how wildly available they are.
Yeah.
And the fact that he mentioned getting it for free, I was like, look, I'm not going to condone reading books illegally because this is an independent book. Creators deserve to be paid for their creative output,
Mm-hmm.
just like everybody else. They need to make a living. They created something here that is so awesome and so great. Even if the story was bad and we reviewed it, they still deserve to be paid for their work.
Yeah, exactly. And even when you go and you rent something off of like an app like Hoopla, you're still doing a great service
Yes.
to the artist that created this content.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where you can go get this book, and that is my rant.
And that was my rant too.
So yeah, that was A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance by Rick Remender, Andre Lima, Arajou, and colors by Chris O'Halloran.
And letters by Russ Wooden.
There you go. Yep. Thank you so much for listening. This book was really great.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Yep. This is Miles. Oh, what?
I thought you had a question.
What was my question?
Someone sent in a question.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh,
Uh.
listeners, we got our first question.
Yes, a question. All
question.
right, let's
All
do
right.
this.
So I got a question from a listener of our podcast. They asked us where they can start reading Red Hood. All right, so I kind of gave him a little bit of a breakdown, but I'm just going to just talk about it here on the podcast. So Red Hood, of course, the character is Jason Todd in the comic books. Spoiler alert. Spoiler for a 40-year-old
For a 40-year-old story, yeah.
Yeah. So it's Jason Todd. He's the second Robin. Usually where you want to start with that is it's a book called Batman: A Death in the Family. That one's widely available. You can get it in trade paperback and read it. I do.
It's one of the most
famous.
the most famous Batman stories because it impacts the character for years after.
Yes, and it is it's very seminal in the Batman history and Batman lore. I would say that's where you want to get context. But if you're just looking for Red Hood specifically, just because you liked it in Arkham Knight, and that was like your exposure, pick up Under the Red Hood. There is both a trade paperback and a deluxe hardcover of that, and that book is all killer, no filler.
Yeah,
It just keeps going, and it's written really well. Who wrote that one?
that was
that Dixon?
No, it wasn't Dixon. It was what's his name? That was on Real World.
Oh yes. I forget his name.
Damn it! I have the book right there too.
I know.
Well, it's probably on the other side.
I really want to say Doug Mensch, but I know it's not Doug Mensch.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Winnick.
Judd Winnick. Yes.
Now, don't worry, babes. I'm back. It's written by Judd Winnick. It is drawn by Doug Mankey.
Love his work.
Yeah, and it's pretty good because this is Judd Winnick pretty much bringing the character back into the fold. If you get the hardcover version, it gives you the context you need about Death in the Family and even Batman Hush by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee.
Yes. So you really honestly, if you just get Under the Red Hood, Batman Under the Red Hood, you don't need anything else.
Yeah, you really don't.
And that's a great starting point. I would say the next point up for Red Hood would be Batman Battle for the Cowl.
Yes.
After that, it gets a little iffy because any solo Red Hood books kind of have up and downs. But I would say another good one where you want to explore more of Jason Todd is Batman 3 Jokers.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. I'm me a little less so, but as far as having good character moments for Red Hood, I think that one would be a good one too.
Yeah, and if you want, you can pick up the New 52 Red Hood.
Yes.
If you want. He had a pretty long run during the 52 and even afterwards with the Rebirth relaunch for DC Comics, Red Hood and the Outlaws. It was a very long Red Hood run, so you can definitely go into that. It keeps this basically the same history. It doesn't reboot or anything because Batman was barely affected by the New 52 relaunch.
Yeah, Batman's barely affected by any sort of continuity reboot.
Yeah, it's just small changes here and there.
Yeah.
But really, start with Under the Red Hood, and then you can go into Battle for the Cowl, which is who's going to take up the mantle of Batman
after he quote unquote dies.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. It's a whole nother drama. Don't worry, he gets better.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you can go ahead and read the Red Hood stories. While there hasn't been I think there is a recent Red Hood, Red Hood The Hill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's coming out right now, or it just ended. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But yeah, I read the first issue of that, and that's all I read. But I really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just just Red Hood doing his thing.
Yeah. So yeah, that is where you want to start and where you can go with Red Hood if you really want to continue on with the stories. The New 52 and then DC Rebirth runs. That's probably it sequentially.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, that the New 52 stuff is by Scott Lobdell, and there have been a lot of accusations by women against Scott Lobdell.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but just know that the information is out there.
Yes. All right. So thank you for sending in your questions. If you have any more, you can go ahead and send them to comicbrosauthority@gmail.com or our Instagram, which is under Comic Bros Authority again, or TikTok, Comic Bros Authority Podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Please send in your questions. We'd be happy to answer them. Whether it's to like the question we got today, whether where to start for a character, or just like our general thoughts on the medium.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything at all. Any question, even if it's feedback, even if you want to tell us we suck, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I'll read the complaint on air.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll piss on the complaint.
Yeah, because I'll make it gay.
Wait, what?
Piss on the rock and make it gay.
Turn of the Frogs gay. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. My name is Andre, signing off.
All right, my name is Miles, signing off.